It was a promising start for the Panthers on Thursday night in New Jersey, but the Panthers didn't capitalize, and Daniil Tarasov was left to dry.
You're Locked On Panthers, your daily podcast on the Florida Panthers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into this Friday, October 17th edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. I'm Armando Velez from the Hockey News, and you can follow me on X at MonoMan12. And sitting in for Nick Fairbanks on today's edition of the show, he is what I like to call honorary Floridian, Jim Biringer from Full Press NHL, joining me on today's edition of the show. You can follow him on X at Jim Biringer. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Once again, you can do that all on Game Time. So the Florida Panthers lose to the New Jersey Devils on the second end of a back-to-back in what was New Jersey's home opener from the Rock on Thursday night, as the Florida Panthers lost to the Devils 3-1 after some line changes. The Panthers score less than 2 minutes into the game after Brad Marchand created some separation from Yogi Siegenthaler, creates the shooting lane, and then Evan Rodrigues cleans up the loose change on the rebound. But the Panthers don't generate anything else after that as far as goals. And the Panthers, they struggled on the power play once again, 5-on-5, and the superstars for the New Jersey Devils came to play. After struggling to get on the scoreboard, Jack Hughes gets in on the power play, as now it's 2 straight games with a power play goal. Timo Meier, who was getting snake bitten on the night from Daniil Tarasov, got one off a redirection. Then Nico Hischier capped it off at 11:47 of the third period, and the Florida Panthers dropped this one. Now it's 3 games in a row. All three road games come with an L. And Jim was at this game, for those listening. Now it's 4 games that he's been and that he's seen the Florida Panthers in person, which is why I once again call him honorary Floridian. But Jim, the biggest takeaway for me is the fact that for the Panthers, Daniil Tarasov really gave the Panthers a chance in this one. You're thinking about the multiple times that the Panthers, especially on the power play, struggled to keep the puck in the zone, and you saw how Daniil Tarasov was making saves after the Devils were getting out of the penalty box. And really, after that first goal by Evan Rodrigues, although the Panthers were tilted the ice a little bit in their direction, it was not much after that.
No, there wasn't much after that. I think you're looking at a Panthers team that's maybe relying too much on their system right now to just sit back and play defense and try to create chances off of turnovers, and they just don't have the bodies to do it.
No doubt.
Not having Dmitry Kulikov in this lineup is so crucial. Like, obviously, all 3 guys, plus Thomas Nosek, too, are huge, missing. But you could survive some of those guys. And to me, what I mean is survive is at least you had 6 defensemen that won you a Stanley Cup. Like, you knew those guys could do it. Tarasov played out of his mind. To me, I know we're in New Jersey, and I know I'm honorary Floridian, but to me, I don't know how he doesn't get the first start of game. This guy stood on his head for the Florida Panthers tonight, and on Thursday, because look, there was a sequence when the Devils were on the power play. He lost his stick, fell over. His own guy knocked him over. He was on his butt, and he made a save. And the Devils had a wide open net, and I still don't know how they didn't score. Daniil Tarasov was awesome. Evan Rodrigues summed it up after the game best. He says, we got to get back to playing greasier hockey. We got to play greasy goals. Got to generate more net front presence. Got to drive the lanes. And that's what they did on the first goal. Brad Marchand won a battle in front of Jake Allen. Some sloppy defense from New Jersey, but E-Rob was right there to pick up the loose change. And Paul Maurice said after the game, he's like, well, there's not a lot of positives I can take out of this game, but I think Mackie Saviskevich and E-Rob played really well. But he's like, as a whole, coaches and team, we didn't play well. And you could tell this is a tired team, right? Back-to-backs, right, to travel. But you also could tell it's a team that's played a lot of hockey. There was several sequences in the second and in the third period where they had chances to go create off the rush and their legs just didn't move. And as Paul Maurice likes to say, the brain is the first to go, and you could clearly see it.
Yeah, and then when the Panthers are getting on the cycle, you look at 20 block shots from the New Jersey Devils. I mean, not a lot of space given out there. And the Panthers, they generate 10 less shots on the road than they do at home. Their average is 32 at home in the first 3 games, and right now they went right to the average on tonight's game at 22. So big difference with how they're able to just generate and get out of their own end and at least get the pucks deep and work the board battles as well. So that's a really tough part. And yeah, Daniil Tarasov, some of those chances without the stick, and one of that one play that you're talking about was a one-timer by Timo Meier, which the one previously before that was right in his chest. And then there was a big sequence where he made 3 consecutive saves on Jack Hughes, flashing the leather. There's one with the blocker and then one kicking out, and then other chances where he had 2 consecutive kick-out saves as well. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And then a 2-on-1 right before that stretch from Jack Hughes as well. That it was a setup from Nico Hischier to Timo Meier as well. And I mean, yeah, Timo Meier ended up scoring on the redirection, but man, I was thinking at times it's the Daniil Tarasov show. I was thinking as well, Timo Meier is going to see Daniil Tarasov in his nightmares. And I mean, this is also the fact this is also another example of why goalie wins are not stats in the NHL, just like with quarterback wins and pitching wins, because the fact that there are so many variables when it comes to winning hockey games, and the fact that Tarasov has given the Panthers 2 great games. I mean, you look at the box score and you see 5 goals and then 3 goals. You're looking at and there were no empty netters on this one to make the goal differential worse tonight, but you look at the body of work and his ability to move left to right laterally, especially from the one save that he made with the glove really early on. I mean, at 6'5", I'm continue to be impressed by him.
No, he played an excellent game, and the players after the game, and then head coach Paul Maurice even said after the game, he's like, if it wasn't for Tarasov, we're not in this game. Like, he literally put this team on his back. And the players and everybody were appreciative of what he did because they weren't generating anything. Outside of the first goal, they didn't generate anything. Like, you could talk about the 20 block shots and everything. They didn't generate one high danger scoring chance after they made it 1-0. I mean, the power play to me, and this is concerning because they got to figure out something on how to generate scoring chances and how to generate looks. I know things weren't connecting, and you can talk about connections all you want. They got to change up the look because, like me personally, I'm taking Anton Lundell away from the net front and putting him on the half wall because I know how skilled he is with the puck. Maybe put somebody else in front of the net. He, like Daniil Tarasov, without them tonight, I mean, look, you still have Sergei Bobrovsky, so you don't know what the score would have been. Could have been the same score because Bob could have stood on his head too. You don't know. But the Devils were pressing. The Devils were flying. Aaron Ekblad said they played playoff hockey. You could tell. I thought out of the road periods that the Panthers played through this little stretch, I thought their first period was the best.
Mm-hmm.
I must have been watching something wrong because Paul Maurice did not like the game the whole night. So I must have just not been watching the right game. But to me, I thought they played a really well first period, but I think they just backed off. And again, they had chances in the second period when pucks got flipped out, just the legs didn't move. Everything wasn't cohesive, and the Devils were beating them to chances. And then the Nico Hischier goal, I mean, you feel bad for Tarasov because, I mean, there's nothing that she can do on that shot. You can't do anything there. And his own guy lost a puck battle, and then it's in the net. I mean, it's just like, all right, all outside of the Hischier shot, you had 2 fluky goals. One that Jack Hughes loves to do because it's his famous shot off the helmet, and Timo Meier's redirection that just got in.
Yeah, the RVH, which our friend David Dork says that he's not a big fan of. Henrik Lundqvist is also not the biggest fan.
He's not a fan of it either. A lot of the goalies, like I've talked to a couple of goalies when I was down at the final, like Corey Schneider and a couple of other guys that were there a couple weeks too. they hate it when this is how they're taught. They hate it, man. They hate that they go into this RVH and they give up so much at the top of the net. So, look, I thought he played fine. I thought he gave his chance a team to win the game. They didn't. It's unfortunate. Now they got to go back to the drawing board to figure out where they're going to find this offense, because I think are averaging 1 goal on the road right now.
Yeah, it's not looking good. And I mean, the shooters are just so skilled in this league now. Not saying that they've never been, but they're getting better at knowing how to pinpoint. I mean, Sam Reinhart scored a goal off of Stuart Skinner's mask like just last year from the corner when he was going into the RVH position. So sometimes you take a little bit of a chance, but hey, Jack Hughes is the number 1 overall pick. He's a superstar. He scored 99 points just a few years ago. So he knows how to get that puck through the net. And to think that the Panthers also had a little bit of a momentum special teams wise going into periods with killing off a 5-on-3, and especially Mackie Samoskevich playing some penalty minutes, 4-on-3, and then going on the 5-on-4 power play for New Jersey, they were able to kill it off. And then the Panthers having 25 seconds going into the third period, they weren't able to get anything going and carry that momentum from one period to the next. So that's the kind of discouraging part if you're for the Florida Panthers. And even Evan Rodrigues said that they were trying to force a little bit too much.
They did. They definitely were. They definitely were forcing a lot. It was un-Panther-like. Again, their home and road games are kind of different. They shouldn't be different. If you play the same way, it should carry over from the home to the road. But it seems like the Panthers' road game and home game are completely different.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm going to give a lot of credit to Luke Cunnin so far throughout this first season. Panthers were in a lot of penalty trouble, and then he's continued to just lay it out there. And when it comes to just blocking shots out there, so I got to give a lot of credit to Luke Cunnin, and of course Brad Marchand. Right now is currently the Panthers MVP this season.
He's playing well. I mean, he played well. He's played well, but the rest of the team has to step up right now in the absence of Tkachuk and Barkov and Kulikov, and you may have to throw different looks around right now.
And yeah, you can't rely on a 37-year-old to create the majority of your offense.
No. I mean, look, I'll say this. Don't want to call him out. He was called out in spaces and some other spots, but you got a guy that just got paid $8 million. Need a little bit more from him.
No doubt. He was on the ice for another goal against tonight for the Panthers. So it's starting to be a little bit of a problem early on in this new deal. But we're going to transition over to segment number 2, where we are going to discuss our 3 duds of the game and the moment where we knew the game was lost. We're going to discuss all that and more next here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. And the NHL season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer for your team. That's where Game Time comes in. That gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks your seats, and you save big. You can even find NHL tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. And once again, thank you guys so much for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day here on a Friday, October 17th edition. The Florida Panthers drop the second end of a back-to-back to the New Jersey Devils by a final score of 3-1 from the Prudential Center. Armando Velez here with Jim Biringer of Full Press NHL. And this is the part where after a game, we provide our 3 duds of the game in the case of the Panthers losing, and also discuss the moment where we knew the game was lost. So for me, the number 3 dud for the Panthers is the Jones-Mikkola pair. Mikkola turning the puck over consistently in this one, and then the miscommunication between him and Jones. They were switching which side of the ice they were on, and then they were going towards Jesper Bratt right before getting the puck to Nico Hischier before the goal to make it 3-1 New Jersey there. Dawson Mercer, excuse me, not Jesper Bratt, drawing to Dawson Mercer before the goal. So I'm going to give that the third dud of the game to the Jones Mikkola pair. And then number 2 and 1 are the two guys that you are expected to step up in the absence of the two injured players. Sam Reinhart is number 2. Anton Lundell is number 1. And to think that these two, the line that was outstanding throughout the playoffs, at the third line of Eetu, Lundell, and Brad Marchand, were all separated in this game. Eetu Luostarinen was going back to third line center, something we haven't seen in a while. We don't see that under Paul Maurice. And then Lundell and Reinhart on the same line, which we saw at least them together at least thrive in the 2023 postseason. We saw that early on in this one. Neither of them got a shot on goal. And the one shot that we thought was a shot by Sam Reinhart ended up not counting because of the review for goaltender interference. So that ended up not counting for the Panthers there, which we'll get to our thoughts there in just a second there. But officially on the stat line, no shots on goal. And even if that one counted, it would have been too little too late for the Panthers, in my opinion, which I guess you can think that is not the moment where I knew the game was lost for the Panthers. But before we get there, your 3 duds of the game for the Panthers here.
Yeah, I'm going to go. My third dud of the game is got to go to Gustav Forsling. I think he can play a lot better than he's shown early on in the season, especially tonight. He got beat on the ice for his -1. So, I mean, when you have a dash, I mean, not a lot of guys had pluses or zeros, but you got a -1 on your card. That's never a good thing. I didn't think he played his best game. I know he could play better. New Jersey speed was definitely apparent, but got a guy like Forsling. I love Forsling. I think he's a good player. He can give a little bit more. I didn't think he had his best game. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's my third dud of the night. My second dud of the night has to go to. I guess I have to stay with this. This train right here. I mentioned it before the break. I gotta go Sam Bennett, man. Second dud of the night. I mean, like, let's be honest. You're getting paid $8 million to play to step up here, right? I know your role is different than what you're supposed to be, and we all knew he was an $8 million player. Some people thought he'd be a $9 million player. He averages 50 points in the regular season. He's getting paid for playoff production. That's what we get. But in moments like this, you got to start putting the team on your back, especially in an even game. You got to start being a little bit physical. I didn't see the physical presence that I know Sam Bennett can play with. And Devils took advantage of a slow Florida team. And, I could take a player. I could take another guy. I'm just going to put the number 1 dud. It's going to be a collective effort, the power play. Power play is just not good enough. Like, I don't know if we're allowed to do this on this program, but to me,
it's your choices.
To me, the power play stinks. Like, straight up stinks. Like, it's not good. It's too one-dimensional. It's too much high umbrella with 4 guys. Lundell in the front, not generating enough chances, not big bodies, not enough traffic in front. And again, they had the traffic in front on the quote-unquote disallowed goal for goalie interference. Yes, I have some takes on it when we get to it. But I think Anton Lundell being in front of the net, I think he can be used better on a half wall somewhere. And then you get a guy like Bennett can cause some chaos in front, put him there on the power play, give some different looks there. So overall, I think my number 1 dub, because this was one of those wacky games. Sheldon Keefe said it's one of those wacky games. There's a lot of penalties, some things you may not get later on, but they had chances to increase the lead and they didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, no doubt. And Sam Bennett is the guy that's assigned for the half wall position for the Panthers power play. And I'm wondering, because of the fact that the Panthers have a hard time setting up Sam Reinhart in the bumper because of his defense, I'm wondering if they start putting Sam Reinhart a little bit more at the blue line for the Panthers, and then take Aaron Ekblad off the power play one completely, and then put Mackey there for as far as protecting the walls more, and then have Bennett and Marchand maybe be those net front guys a little bit more, and maybe change up something a little bit there.
They have to.
So you're gonna have to do something. And the thing is, Sam Bennett, there's a rare time that he's actually was over 50% from the dot today. So one of the few times that he's over 50%, the Panthers are having still a hard time clearing their own end. As I said, he was on the ice for 1 goal against. He was actually on the ice for 2 goals against for the Panthers. He was on there for both those goals in the third period, which the Panthers are having a hard time. Just flip. Sometimes I just want to ask this team to just flip the puck out, please flip it out, and let them reset in the neutral zone. But the moment where I knew the game was lost was actually the Timo Meier redirection, which, as the trend has been during this road trip, when the Panthers have fallen behind, it's hard to at least get. And when the Panthers have been pressing at times, they've had a hard time getting the tying goal. And it's been a thing even last year when they pull the extra the goalie and put the extra attacker. It's a rarity whenever they actually do tie the game and send it to overtime. Hey, we saw it in the Stanley Cup final, but they ended up on the losing side. That doesn't happen for the Florida Panthers team. So your moment where you knew the game was lost, and then we can discuss the goalie interference call.
I mean, you said that. I mean, we talk about shooters can get lanes. I thought once Jack Hughes tied the game, I thought all the momentum switched to the New Jersey Devils, because after that they just took over the game. Once Jack Hughes scored, made it 1-1. The building was a little bit dead, and the building came alive for the Devils fans, and the Devils themselves. They took advantage of it, and they played within themselves, because they just kept Florida in their own zone. A lot of the entire game was just played in the Florida zone too much, and they needed to get out of it. Outside, like I said, outside that first goal, the rest of the game was down in the Florida end, and that's not a recipe for success if you're the Panthers right now. Like I said, tired bodies. They played a lot of hockey, but that's not an excuse.
No doubt.
They have to play better. Like, the entire team has to play better. Maurice put it on him, the coaches, the team, everybody has to be better.
And I love the fact that they, even though they've won back-to-back cups, that they are not complacent when it comes to just saying that they got to be better.
No, it's like, hey, we had a bad game tonight, and on Thursday against New Jersey. Hey, you know what? That's on all of us. Like, it's not just the player. He's like, the best is Paul Maurice is the best, because he's like, it's not going to be beneficial if I just pick and choose guys.
Yeah,
who was good and who was not good. As a whole, we were not good, as an entire team. So I thought once Jack Hughes scored a goal, New Jersey took over and they just dominated play.
No doubt. All right, now let's talk about that goalie interference that was called and then reviewed. And this is the part where the initial call matters in this case. If that was a goal, called a goal, I highly doubt that Sheldon Keefe would have challenged that, because of the camera angle. The bird's eye view showed us that Anton Lundell's skates were not even in the blue paint. Even the elbow, Jake Allen came out of the crease and made contact. And this old saying is, if you're in the blue, it's on you. But I didn't see any blue for Anton Lundell there when Sam Reinhart shot it from the high slot and there. But it's not the reason why the Panthers lost, because that goal would have made it 3-2. But it prevented the Panthers from at least giving them a chance to at least give themselves another opportunity to at least maybe force overtime.
Yeah, no, look, there's a pandemic going on in the National Hockey League right now, and I'm trying to be as neutral about this as possible, but we need to figure out what the rule is, like clear cut. Like, no, I'm serious.
No doubt.
Like, there needs to be a clear cut rule about like what goaltender interference is. And I'm not trying to be a homer about Panthers right now, because this applies for everybody. I talked to multiple referees tonight after the game. The Situation Room came out with the explanation about Anton Lundell prevented Jake Allen from playing his position in the crease. I'd like to know where that was outside of his buttocks crossed the plane. And if we're talking about buttocks and
we're talking millimeters.
We're talking about millimeters of your pants, of your hockey pants. Now we're getting into offside millimeter territory where it's
Thanks, Matt Duchene.
Like this is my understanding of the rule has always been if the player sets himself outside the blue paint and the goalie makes contact, it's his ice outside of the blue paint.
Mm-hmm.
Anton Lundell's skates were not in there. And again, you said it perfectly, and other officials have talked to me about this. Whatever the initial call is, that's what the situation room goes to, because it actually is not on the situation room to overturn it. They talk with the officials, that's their ruling, and they try not to overturn it. However, this is where I would like that UFL, ACC replay situation to come in, where we can go behind the scenes as fans, those not just cover the game, but even those that cover the game, like myself, like you, like everybody, we can hear this conversation and not left wondering what.
Yeah. So, and
I didn't like the call, and I'm going to be honest, the Zebras and the referees, sorry for the little slip there. I'm tired, but the officials did not have a good night in New Jersey all around. I am just going to flat out say it both ways. The officiating, the penalties against both teams were not good.
Yeah, there's that follow through that resulted in the holding of the stick of Eetu Luostarinen as well. That was maybe a questionable, but hey, it's a follow through versus actually grabbing. But I can understand how tangled up and everything of why they would see it that way.
They had a bad night. They had an off night.
No doubt. But we're running a little bit long here on today's edition of the show, but we'll transition over to segment number 3, where it's getting late and early in Buffalo, and it's no guarantee that the Panthers are just going to walk in there and get a dub. We'll discuss that more next here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. But first, we're going to tell you guys all about FanDuel. And the NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little something riding in on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Once again, visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today to get started. And I'd like to thank you guys once again for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day here on a Friday. Armando Velez here, joined by Jersey Jim Biringer here on the show from Full Press NHL after the Florida Panthers dropped this game to the New Jersey Devils by a final score of 3-1 from The Rock. And listen, Jim, the feeling that I'm getting now is I was looking forward to the regular season as far as clarity when it comes to how this Panthers team is going to grow without their main superstars. And you know what? I still kind of feel that way. And this continues to the theme of the regular season being interesting for the Florida Panthers. And it leads me to the fact that I just can't. I'm not the type of person who I'm thinking that the Panthers are just going to be pounding their chest going into Buffalo, although they're right now a disaster, being 1-3-0 on the season. And although they have 10 goals on the season, 8 of them came previously on Wednesday night against the Ottawa Senators. I can't just be in that mindset that the Panthers are just can just walk in there and just get a dub, especially with how much they've been struggling. But let's go right into this matchup for the Panthers. So they get the Buffalo Sabres get shut out by New York. There's that viral video of the fan raging coming out of the arena. On Monday, they lose to the Colorado Avalanche, and even though they were trailing, the ice was still tilted to Colorado, and a jersey was thrown on the ice, and then they explode for 8 goals against the Ottawa Senators. And then questionable moves, the JJ Peterka trade, and then one of their acquisitions, Michael Kesselring, hasn't even played yet this season. Josh Stone is a nice little middle six piece for the Sabres, but you're not getting the scoring when you're trading Peterka. The Dylan Cousins and Josh Norris trade has been a disaster. I mean, I predicted that before when the trade happened. He's not playing. UPL is not playing. Alex Lyon, former Panther, has been started every single game. But the disaster has even started for when they signed Alexander Gorgiev, because there's a logjam even in Rochester for former Panthers prospect Devin Levi out there. So it's just a whole bunch of rushing development, third line players playing up to the second line. I mean, they still are. They still don't know what they have in Jack Quinn, although he scored in the last game. They've been mishandling him so much throughout that. And then Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin are telling management, this is it, or else we might request something. And the fact is, they actually have a player in Alex Tuck who actually wants to be in Buffalo, Syracuse, New York native, and he's been in possible trade rumors there. They can't even get a homegrown. They can't even get things right when it comes to a homegrown, quote unquote, when it comes to getting things right as far as winning hockey games.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot to dissect with Buffalo, right? I think the biggest thing is a change in the culture, right? They need something that starts from the top, whether it's Terry Pagula, Kevin Adams, Jarmo Kekalainen, whatever. Jarmo just came in, so
yeah,
he could be the next guy. They got the coaching hire wrong. Like Lindy Ruff, it was a 2-year deal. Why did they even bring him back? They needed to get somebody else.
Bridge coach, maybe,
but I don't know who else is on the horizon. They need a mindset change there. Losing has been acceptable and okay now for 14 years. Fortunately, it's going to be 15 years. But I think things have changed a little bit against the Ottawa Senators. I think Tage Thompson said it right after the other game. He's like, the sky isn't falling. It's just a couple of games. We can't live in the past. Well, this team lives and dies in the past because they haven't made the playoffs since 2011. Yep. They haven't been to a conference final since 2006.
I was a junior in high school.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when the Buffalo Sabres were a consistent playoff team, go to conference finals. You could book them in conference finals. Actually, I take that back, 2007, because they lost to the Ottawa Senators in 5 games with Alfredson and all those guys. But the point is the Florida Panthers, constructed as is, still can't go in there and think this is going to be a cakewalk.
No way.
Because the Panthers don't play well in the afternoon, from my understanding. Mm-hmm. And the Sabres are maybe starting to find some things with Jack Quinn. Tage Thompson's playing well. Maybe defensively they're starting to put some things together. Again, you hit the nail on the head. When the Sabres were really good, the lockout of 04-05 benefited that group to be a tight-knit group, play together. Maybe they could start putting some wins together. And a win over the Stanley Cup champions, yes, they're injured, but you play who you play on your schedule. Yep. And if they can get a win over Florida, that'll boost their confidence even more. It's not going to be easy for Paul Maurice and that club. They're going to have to find a way to score some goals, and Bob's going to have to stand on his head.
Yeah, no doubt. And you just hope that the Panthers, I believe they'll be ready. Doesn't guarantee that it'll be a dub, but seeing this skid that they're currently on, and the fact that they haven't really generated much. I mean, yeah, last change has a lot to do with it, based on their personnel. I mean, credit to the opposing coaches too for getting the proper matchups there against this Panthers team while they're down bad with the injuries. But the Panthers, it's not an excuse for the Panthers' inability to create and ability to finish and get inside the dirty areas and get those second chance, gripping the sticks a little bit too tight there
for the power play worked on.
Yep. So yeah, and at the beginning of the season, I was wondering if they were over reliant on the power play. I mean, they hadn't scored more than 2 5-on-5 goals, except Ottawa on last Saturday. So, and the power play 2 has double the amount of goals as power play 1. So that just goes to show how down bad that first unit is for the Panthers. So we'll see what they can do this Saturday. I mean, hopefully they'll be ready, which I'm very confident that they eventually will. And also another thing, mismanagement of what Buffalo does, it has nothing to do with the fact that their arena fell apart during the offseason and there was a big leak there. But Bowen Byram, they acquired him. He can be a guy who could work on both power play units, but that's a logjam there between Rasmus Dahlin on the top unit, and then Owen Power on the second. They gave him a 2-year contract extension, but he was also in rumors as well. So I think that's going to be an if, not when, he gets moved for him. So be on the lookout for a possible Bowen Byram on the trade market come March of this year. So that's one thing that we need to be looking out for. But Jim, I want to thank you so much for joining me once again on another edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, as the Panthers dropped this third game in a row on the road to the New Jersey Devils by a final score of 3-1. Tell everybody where they can follow you and all of your work online.
Yeah, definitely check it out at Jim Biringer on X, Twitter. Check me out there. I could put stuff out on Full Press Media on the Substack, Full Press Hockey, RG Media, NHLRumors.com, Full Press Hockey on YouTube as well. Dropping a couple things coming up. I like to be interactive on the Twitter machine that we like to have. And, people call me TSN690, all these other spots. I'm everywhere. Google me like Kirk Signetti. So shout out to him and his new contract. But that's where you can get me. And I love all of the Florida Panthers fans that have hopped on board the follow train. I appreciate you all.
Thank you so much, Jim. And I will see you again soon. And if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the podcast to be notified every single time the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast jumps into your podcast feed. Don't forget to also subscribe to the other shows on the Locked On NHL network, including Locked On NHL, Locked On Fantasy Hockey, Flip Livingstone and Steel Roden, and Locked On NHL Prospects. Thank you once again for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. So I'm Armando Velez with Jim Biringer, and you've been listening to Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every day.